What is good, YouTube? It's That One Camera Guy back at it again with another podcast for you. This is episode 2 of That One Camera Guy Speaks. If you didn't catch the last episode and you're watching this on video via YouTube, go ahead and click somewhere over here so you can go ahead and check out the previous episode that divulged my YouTube secrets, what I do to try and be successful on this platform called YouTube. Today, we're going to continue on the YouTube discussion a little further. And, like I said, I'm still working on this whole podcast thing. It's not necessarily my expertise. So I have some notes here, and as I talk, I'll write down some notes so that way I don't get confused later, because I know from the last time when I was talking, there were things I forgot to say. So I was talking about one thing, and then I just completely forgot to talk about it again later, and I said I'd go back to it. So I went ahead and set all that up. But this episode is about diving into developing your own YouTube channel, let's just say. Or if you are going to be doing the photography, video / technology sphere, we're going to go into that. I'm also going to answer this question is, how much money can you potentially make, and how many views per day do you really need to be able to sustain this as an actual living? So I guess the topic today is, can you make YouTube for a living? Can you do it for a living? Because right now for me, and I mentioned this a lot of podcasts, I don't make enough money to be profitable. I'm actually in the red for this. If this was considered an actual business, I'd be in the red. A lot of the money that I use, I just invest my own capital, my own money into my YouTube channel because it's a passion and hobby of mine. And again, my goal is to become a brand, or to kind of be that person that can answer questions. I want to be that go-to person and leverage that, and to see the benefits of being on the YouTube platform and what it can mean for you. Let's go ahead and figure out some things about YouTube. First of all, if you're going to start a new YouTube channel, why are you doing it? That's the question I would ask for you. And that's the same thing I would probably tell my students if they were going to go ahead and develop a YouTube channel, is why are you doing it and what's the motivation? Are you trying to make money? Are you trying to build a brand? Are you trying to become famous? Are you doing it in conjunction with your company? Whatever, like maybe you're using it just to advertise. There's so many ways to leverage YouTube, and you don't typically need to have millions of subscribers to be successful. There's other means to do that, and we are going to talk about the other methods to make money on YouTube a little more. I did talk about it in the other video, but I'm going to go into the specifics and the nitty-gritty, and I'll kind of share with you how much I'm making, not exactly, but share with you how much I'm making, what potentially you can do on this particular platform. So let's go ahead and reassess that, look at that question again. So make sure you're passionate about what you're doing. Do not make a YouTube channel necessarily for the hopes of becoming famous. It's just not going to happen. Don't say, for example, kids' toys are really popular right now, I'm just going to make a YouTube channel on kids' toys. Well, if you don't really care about kids' toys, you're probably not the best person for it, and you might not see it through the end, because YouTube is a long-term game. You invest a lot of time and energy. It's like a nest egg. You keep building it up. You keep building it up. But if you don't have any passion or desire for it, you're going to completely fall apart. Also, different characteristics of doing YouTube. You're kind of self-employment. If you have if you're kind of the type of individual that wants to be a boss, then you could succeed on a YouTube platform because, hey, you work on a schedule, you can keep track of things, and you are committed to yourself. You know yourself, you trust yourself a lot better. That was something that I was challenged with when I was still doing Restore My Sneakers, which was the other YouTube channel I was at, is just that the schedule just wouldn't work with my brother. So that's why I figured, if it's not working out with him in his schedule and we can't make the channel, I said, you know what, I can depend on my own self, and I can build it off of my own schedule, and that's how I got That One Camera Guy, the YouTube channel. So that was important to me. So again, find the root. Why are you doing this? Don't just necessarily do it because you just want to. Make sure you have a goal and a purpose, and make sure it's something that you can grit your teeth and actually do. And don't forget, if you're the kind of person that makes a lot of excuses for yourself, you might not make it to the very end. So let's dive into that. The next question I want to answer or look at is, what happened to YouTubers? YouTube was very different back in the early days in 2010 and 2013 timeframe. It's very different as it is now. And I briefly mentioned this, but the most successful YouTubers are the ones that made it this far. One that I wanted to talk a little bit about was Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto. I remember his videos vaguely in 2010, early on when I was doing a different YouTube channel because I wanted to learn about cameras. I was learning about cameras back in 2010 or so and 2011, and I remember channels from FroKnowsPhoto, Dave Dugdale. Digital Rev TV was a big one. Digital Rev TV was the one that had entertainment value. It had the infotainment component of videos. Let me write that down in my notes. I want to talk about this. So they were there, Jared Polin, they were just giving feedback and advice. And Matt Granger, yeah, now I remember, Matt Granger was there in the early days as well. It was so crazy. So crazy. I know some of you out there, if you're the younger crowd, you don't know what I'm talking about. But let me see here. Can I find the list? There was a list of the top 100 photography YouTube channels that was posted. Let me go ahead and pull that up here on the side. Wow, I wasn't expecting this to happen, but it is going to happen now. So there was this post here that showed the top 100 photography YouTube channels. And I don't know if this is the most recent one. Let me go in and go back. Here we go. They updated this in 2017. So let's go ahead and take a look at it really briefly. It's actually a good read so you can actually see how things are going right now. And even tell you what year these channels were created. So Digital Rev TV is sort of what I would say, Digital Rev TV is like, they're an anomaly, right? They're an actual company that sells camera equipment. If you're doing this on your own, let's say you're doing the photography, video, tech sphere, you can't compare yourself to Digital Rev TV. Kai-Man Wang and also Locke, I guess I don't know how to say his last name accurately, but they had a company backing them and they had resources and they could produce their content. And I think I might do another video as to why I think Digital Rev TV actually stopped producing, well, Kai and Locke had left in the first place. But the one individual that I give a lot of credit to is actually Jared Polin. I remember in the early days when Jared Polin was doing videos with Greg Cazillo. Let me know in the comments section below if you remember Greg Cazillo. They actually did videos together early on, and it was pretty cool. I mean, this idea of working with another person, and I think at the time, you know, Jared was just focused on Nikon stuff. That was kind of the arena he was in, was Nikon gear and equipment. But he gave good information and people listened to him. And, you know, when it was back in the day of early YouTube, if you made a video about cameras, you could get tens of thousands of views because there wasn't as much competition yet. There just wasn't that much. And Polin had just kept working hard, and he became that character, FroKnowsPhoto. I don't know if he had that right at the get-go. I don't remember. I know he's kind of divulged his background topics, but I still remember that whole beef that happened with Craig Cazillo and Jared Polin so many years back. They split, and Greg Cazillo started his own channel. And unfortunately, he never, you know, Craig Cazillo is a professional, so he doesn't have as much time to dedicate to a YouTube channel. But hopefully, he's doing well. But I did watch some of his more. He started coming back again, talking about printers and such. But I really wish he would come back. He has a lot of good information he could share. But if you look at that number, his channel started in 2008. That's a long time ago. He was part of that generation of early YouTubers. And I will tell you, you could do a case study on Jared Polin. His channel has evolved, and he continued to build that channel up from nothing. Now he hires 2 individuals. He gets sponsorships. He does the affiliate links. He sells video courses and products. That's how you convert your profile, your personality, and yourself into a business model. He is the brand, Jared Polin. FroKnowsPhoto. Even my students know. They don't even know his name. It was kind of interesting. One of my students is like, hey, do you know that one guy, Fro something? He didn't even know. He didn't even know his actual name. His branding is so strong that they know him by the Fro. If you're interested in that type of area. But he was working so hard during that time. And then Matt Granger came along in 2011, and you all know Matt Granger, and he's still trucking along. He's tried different things. He's tried different series. He's moving on to bigger things. He's moved to New York. You know, he's continually trying to evolve and build his brand and his channel. It's huge. He also sells products, uses affiliate links, gets sponsors. They are at that point of how do you continue to build this out. Let's see here. Going down to number 5, we have Tony&Chelsea Northrup. They started in 2007. Well, I think their channel was in 2007, but I don't think they started producing videos very early on, because I know Tony used to do stuff for Windows. He wrote books for Windows, and then later on he transitioned into photography, and he kept pursuing it. Let me see if I can find their oldest video that they've posted. Let me go ahead and pull that up here. Oldest video was 10 years ago. Holy crap. Okay, let's see here. So they got, oh, I remember this one. The HDR tutorial. Oh, wow. I remember this. I remember this right here.
Northrup, and I'm here with my...
I remember this video very, very, very clearly. I remember that picture. That's what really set their channel off. By the way, I have the vidIQ software tool here on the side, so you can actually take a look. If you take a look here, now this isn't completely accurate, but if you take a look, it gives you information. This is the, I think this is free. You can actually, whoa. Okay, sorry, I just zoomed in there. I don't know if they're showing it, but you can actually see information here. You can get your SEO scores. You can see the video tags that they're using in their videos and how much they're roughly making in terms of monthly revenue. Now, this is not accurate. I've seen my number was less. They could be doing a lot better than that. But I remember this 2012. So they weren't at the very beginning of time. They just kind of started there. Let's go back to the list. We have Adoram. Those don't count. COOPH. I don't know who that is. Who is COOPH? How to make a DIY. This is pretty cool. They're doing a lot of DIY stuff and very well branded channel. If you look, like, you know distinctively these are their brand of videos, cooperative of photography. That's awesome. They're doing really well. 500,000 subscribers. Let's go ahead and click on one of these videos here and take a look.
Hurry in for True Value Summer.
Revenue, how are they doing views? I don't think they're doing about 20,000 views or so. At a CameraStoreTV. Now, CameraStoreTV is very interesting because CameraStoreTV is kind of like the child of Digital Rev. It's the more mature version of it. Well, where Digital Rev TV was taking the Top Gear kind of mentality. They were kind of an infotainment type channel. CameraStoreTV went with the more professional route. They wanted to showcase products and they wanted to do it in professional light. Now, again, they're in that scenario where they have the backing of a camera store and they're able to produce content from it. But they have a lot of dedication and have a lot of respect for the two individuals that run that YouTube channel. I'm just curious as to how it operates for them. That's what I'm wondering. Let's go ahead and take a look at the CameraStoreTV. Let's see if we can find, sorry, let me jump back to tutorial mode here. Let's see if I can find their oldest video. 7 years ago. Oh, wow. So they were doing videos 7 years ago. So back in 2010, they were making videos on that channel a long time. Wow. So they've been keeping up. You know, the thing that I really do find interesting is, are they going to stay there? That's what I'm wondering. And, you know, when you build a channel like this, they've been building their own brand. Like, I I feel so bad. I just forgot his name, but the main guy, the main host, he's a celebrity already in terms of the photography realm. He could technically run and do his own channel and develop his own business model, get products, review them. It was Jordan and Chris, right? They could do their own thing if they wanted to. So I don't know the negotiation they have with the camera store. I'd be interested to know what that is. All right, let's see. F-Stoppers, they're kind of like an organization, right? So it's a little bit different. Gordon Liang, this guy started way back when, man, dinosaur time. But the thing is, Gordon hasn't been producing as much videos as of late, but he did really well in the early onsets of YouTube. When you did YouTube early on, let me jump back to here, right? So here's Liz, here's Gordon right there. And let's see what his oldest video is. 10 years ago. Holy crap. Look at that early video, 400,000 views. It is nearly impossible now to get a video that old and generate hundreds of thousands of views. By the way, he has a Canon EOS 400D, 10 years ago had almost 500 views, his first video. Those times are they don't exist anymore, unfortunately. They just don't, because there's so much more competition now than there ever was. And at that time, YouTube wasn't even monetizable at that time, I don't think. So, but yeah, he's, let me pull up Social Blade real quick. There I am. Let me search up Gordon Liang. Here we go. All right, here's Gordon right now. And if you take a look right here, in terms of his view counts, he's averaging roughly 5,000, okay? 5,000 video views per day. In the grand scheme of things, his channel isn't really a source of income. If you look at that information, his channel isn't a source of income. I would say that right now. Now, whether he's profiting from affiliate links and such, could be possible. I don't really know. Only he would know that, and he would have to divulge that information. But if we're just doing a case study or analysis, just look, he has almost 100,000 subscribers, but he's generating less than 10,000 views per day. Now, I'm not trying to plug my own self at all, by the way. I'm not trying to do that. We're just trying to do some analysis here. But let me go ahead and show you where I'm at right now with my own YouTube channel. I'm not even anywhere near 100,000 subscribers, but I'm doing about 10,000 views per day right now, as long as I'm producing content on a daily basis. So that is very interesting to me, right? So that's what I'm saying, and I mentioned this before. If you're not producing content on a daily basis, your channel is gonna die, okay? And you have to evolve. You have to evolve, and you have to take advantage of the newer platforms, the newer resources like the end cards, the little footnotes that pop up there. Ask people to watch the next video, create playlists. It goes on and on and on. There's just a huge plethora of strategies that you could do. I mean, there's even strategies for doing giveaways to increase your amount of views. People do that to inflate their likes and comments in their channels to increase their engagement scores. I see YouTubers doing that frequently. There is a YouTuber right now in the photography video community that does take advantage of the whole giveaway stuff. I don't know. Some of you might know who he is, but I'm not gonna talk about that on here because that's not what we're here for. We're just analyzing some things here. Let me go ahead and jump back to the list, and there's one more I want to look at, and that's the Angry Photographer. You know, he came out number 12 on the list. 28 million views as of when they posted this. Look at the amount of videos. Massive catalog. 3,712. Compared to Jared Polin, who started prior to that, he's at 2,300 or so. So the thing about Angry Photographer's channel, and I don't know if he's monetizing all his videos or he just does some of them, but if you really look at his method and approach to his channel, his approach is just constant content. Like, he's not even doing daily uploads. He's doing multiple daily uploads per day. Because the last time I checked, there's 365 days in a year. And the fact that he was able to accumulate that many videos in that span meant he was uploading 2 to 3 videos per day at times. So if we go ahead and take a look at, I don't know if I can find, I think I have to type in Theoria. All right, there we go. Here we go. Let's take a look right here. I want you to take a look at this channel because it really represents. Now, you can have whatever opinion you have about the angry photographer. I don't really care. He doesn't really bother me, even though, you know, talking about the videos, it's whatever. He has the character that he puts on, and unfortunately, people saw his character, and they really believed that character he portrayed. It was just a character he was posing for his channel, I would assume, as the angry photographer. But in reality, he's just a regular person, you know? So if you take a look, I just want to look at the case study for this, right? If you're just taking a look, he's averaging 50,000 views a day. 50,000 views a day on his YouTube channel. That is tremendous. Okay, considering the fact that he only recently was active on his channel when that whole situation with Liang and himself actually occurred, which was like 3 years ago, I would think. I don't think it was that long ago. But the fact that he's able to amass that many views per day is a crazy feat in that manner. Because I'm going to go ahead and try and divulge some information about the possibility. Now, I don't know. From what I remember, I think he doesn't necessarily monetize his videos, so I don't know if he's monetizing some, not monetizing some. That's on his end, and maybe some of you out there know what he said in the past. But I'll tell you right now, when I jump back to my channel, because we're going to answer this question. I know this is going on and on, but I just love looking at this stuff here. This data is really helpful. And take a look here. On my stats here, you see in January it had this huge peak right here. That was actually when I was doing daily videos. When I was doing daily videos, I had this huge massive peak in my viewership, and then it picked up again during obviously that Sony A9 overheating debacle, right? So let me go ahead and share this with you. So I'm averaging about 10,000 views per day. It's gonna go down. There's no way I can keep that up at all. I have to be constantly producing pretty good content, and although I might have some ideas, I might not be able to keep it up for any prolonged period of time. But if I can keep up an average of 10,000 views per day, I'm not doing too bad. Now, I'm not making profits like I said before, but I'm not doing too bad. Right now in the algorithm, in the monetization world, just YouTube alone, 10,000 views for me personally converts to roughly $20. Okay, so in a day, I would make roughly around $20. Now, I don't think I'm allowed to really show all the charts and graphs in YouTube. You just have to take my word for it. So I make about 20 bucks just on that, if I'm averaging about 10,000 views. Now, the days that you see 20,000 views, well, just do the math, right? If you can do the math, 20, I made 40-something dollars that day. So now I want to dive into this question. Can you make money doing this type of stuff? Now, if you have a YouTube channel right now, that's your benchmark, right? And the reality is 10,000 views enough? No. The question is, how many views per day do you need to live off your YouTube? I don't know. I don't know where you live, what your rent is, or your payments are, and your living accommodation situation. But for me personally, if I wanted to match the amount of money I make from my job, right? It's funny because people tell me, hey, are you just going to drop everything you're doing, your actual job, and become a full-time YouTuber? My students have actually told me that. They're like, you should just become a YouTuber. When are you going to do that? I'm like, no way. No way am I going to do that because I make nowhere near the amount. So let's go ahead and do some mental math here. You know, even though I have an engineering background, it's been so long that I've forgotten a lot of stuff that I learned while I was in college. So, and I don't teach math, so it's not in my daily repertoire. So 10,000 views translates to about, I don't know, $20, right? So if you wanted to make at least $100 a day, you need to generate 50,000 views per day, right? 50,000 views per day. So 50,000 views, you're going to make $100 times 7, right? That's $700 time. Sorry, let's just go $100 per day for 30 days. That's 3,000 US dollars. Okay? That's before tax, by the way. And then if you put that all together, that's what, like $36,000 a year, right? So if you're doing 50,000 views per day, more than likely you're averaging roughly $36,000 on YouTube. And that in and of itself is an applaud, because that's not a chump change, really. That's a good source of income, right? So you go there and then you start asking yourself this question: what more do you need? Let's say, for example, your living accommodations, you need $50,000 to make it, right? Let's say you need $50,000 to live off all of this. So then what you need to do now is figure out how do you make up the last $14,000, right? You'd have to make like another $1,000 or so from another source. So that's where these other options come in. Now, those of you that are listening to this, I do apologize because I haven't been doing a really good job explaining to you, but I have like a notepad open. But you're going to have to do donations, right? You can do donations. You can do, Patreon, which I have my own opinions about Patreon. I think it's a good way, but I don't think it's a great way to find another source. But if you could get $1,000 worth of people donating money to you a month, it could be worth your time, because it could help you make the amount of money you need to do YouTube full time. So there's Patreon, there's there's Amazon affiliate, and there's like other affiliates. You could sell a course. That was a big one. You can do sponsorships. By the way, I get contacted from companies every now and then, but they're not the big ones. They're just really small ones like Makey, Small Rig. It's weird. I actually got contacted by Makey to be an ambassador for them. I haven't agreed to anything, but I'm not looking to be that kind of individual. So you could look at all these other revenue sources that you can approach to make additional money. Let's just say, for example, you're doing 3,000 US dollars. That means you just need to maybe, I don't know, maybe make another $1,200 or so. Amazon affiliate, I'll tell you now right here, I'll just divulge it to you. When I'm getting a lot of views and I'm using affiliates correctly, I was making 3 digits worth of money on it. I was doing maybe about $500 to $600 on a really good month. But then on a really bad month, I'll just do like $100 or $200. But if you have a lot of views, if you're generating a ton of views, you could generate $1,000 to $2,000 alone on Amazon affiliate. If you're already at that point and you're doing pretty good. There's other affiliate programs out there like Squarespace or other programs. So let's just say you make another, $300 a month or something like that. Let's say, for example, you have a course. And by the way, that's something I've thought about doing as another means to make money. I did the A6000 user guide, has almost 100,000 views. And I thought about doing a course. Some people do this. Caleb Pike does this he does that DSLR video type channel. Sell a course. You could bring in some consistent income there. Let's just say you pull in another $400 a month with your course, And then your sponsorships, maybe you got a small sponsorship, maybe you're making like a $500 a month from that. So if you take a look at all these other revenue sources, you're doing, let's say, let's just be fair here. So 1,500, 300 plus 900 or so. Let's just make that $1,000. Let's just say you're doing about another $3,000 on these other sources. Okay, I'm just rounding up here. So you could potentially be doing 3,000 through YouTube, and you could potentially be doing 3,000 with these other methods. And if you're doing $6,000 a month, right? That's $72,000 a year doing YouTube and all of these other platforms. So, do you see the picture? You see the picture, the grand scheme of things? I'm nowhere near this. I'm just letting you know that. I mean, like I said, I'm averaging. Let's see this right here. Let me go pull up Social Blade here. And I just like share this information because I just want to help you guys out there too. But if you look here, hopefully it's zooming in. It tells you right here. It's like saying I average between $3 and $42. And like I said, it's kind of in the middle, like 20 bucks. That's kind of where it's at. It's like in the middle of what I'm generating, and this is somewhat accurate. It's in the middle, like this value here. It's in the middle. So that's how I'm doing. Some YouTubers will do better because of their content, but views, ladies and gentlemen, it's where it's at. It's all about the views. How many views you're generating, how many views you're getting. And by the way, for those of you that are listening in on this, I was showing my stats on Social Blade. It says I make about $3 to $42 per day. I make close to the middle of that on a good day. And then my 30-day average, it says I make between $82 and $1,300. I make half, like in the middle of whatever $1,300 is. So I can't really explicitly state that. Technically, I don't know if I'm going to get in trouble or not, but you know that information there. So that's the situation. Let me jump back to my notepad here. Holy mac and cheese and meatballs. We're 30 minutes into this. So here we go. Oh, crap. What type of content should you make? What type of content should you make? If you want to be successful on this platform and you want to make it something you want to do, you need to do reviews on products, take advantage of sponsorships, do the affiliate program links, but be genuine about it. If you want to be overwhelmingly successful, if you put on a character or a persona, for example, Digital Rev TV is the perfect example of it. Kai was basically created Top Gear for cameras. The character he created to something called infotainment. That's what YouTube really loves. Something I don't do a very good job of. I wish I could do a better job of it. Sometimes I do, but then sometimes I'm just lazy and I just want something simple to create like this podcast. So if you want to be successful, go for the infotainment. Go for infotainment as your goal, and you'll succeed. I really think if you can find it and do something different, you'll be successful. I've actually seen some channels do infotainment, but what ends up happening is that they don't keep it up because it's a grind. It's really tough. So keep that in the back of your mind. And then the last thing I just want to answer briefly is, what's it like just starting out as a YouTuber? The first 100 subscribers is very difficult. You're going to feel demoralized. You might find yourself, you probably produce like 10 to 20 videos and then find yourself that nobody's watching you. Nobody's watching your channel, period. And what that means is you need to work on your keywords, use software like vidIQ, okay? Go grab, look up vidIQ, look up TubeBuddy. You can install it right into your browser, and you can go ahead and analyze YouTube videos. You can find out what channel tags they're using, their descriptions, and all that stuff. That stuff will help you out. You got to look at the numbers. There's a lot of number games here that's really important for you to analyze. So, wow, I don't even know if I answered any of the stuff that I was talking about today, but I hope you thought it was enjoyable. I do apologize if you're just listening to this and not actually watching the video, because I actually showed some information. Crap. Anyway, folks, if you've enjoyed this this podcast, you know why I'm asking for a thumbs up or a thumbs down, whichever you prefer. If you want to watch any other of my previous videos, click somewhere on the screen. And if you haven't done so already, subscribe. And with that said, I'm your host, That One Camera Guy. And I'll see you on the next podcast. Bye.